Hello everyone and welcome on The Papier de Rêve channel. I'm Ursula and today I will be trying with you a new paper. If you follow me for quite some time, I think you know that I love Canson, Heritage and Arches paper. For me they are the best right now on the market, and they are very perfect for the type of watercolor I'm doing. But I also really like to try new paper, and especially handmade paper for watercolor, because they have a really nice texture, very heavy texture, and also without any patterns in it, because they are handmade and I like to try them. So today I'm trying a paper from a Spanish brand, Meirat, and it's a handmade paper, of course. It's not a typical watercolor paper, it's more a mixed media paper, because it's suitable also for gouache and acrylics, and it has the particularity to be made with linen. So it's more like high quality cellulose paper than a cotton paper, and you know that I really prefer cotton paper, but I want to go and have a try with it because the texture is so interesting. It's a really nice heavy paper. I didn't say it, but it's twice the heaviness of the paper I'm using actually. So it's 600 GSM, so it's really heavy paper, and I don't need to tap it on a board or anything, because it will not buckle at all. So my idea for this first test with this paper was to paint some flowers, white flowers on a sky background and some foliage at the bottom. So I prepare this background right now with some blue at the top and green at the bottom. And you can see that the colors I'm putting on the paper are not moving too much. They are staying quite in place. Of course they are diffusing a little bit, but they are not rushing into another place at all. And then when I'm trying a new paper, I like to put a lot of water on the paper to see how it will handle it and how the pigment will move on top of it. And right now it's not the best. But the colors are pretty strong, and I do like that, but wait for it, because watercolor are still very strong wet, but sometimes they can dry very lighter than you think. So I'm at this point I'm quite happy with the quality of the paper, and I like the texture of it very much. And I will make a last try on it before letting it dry. I will try to create a texture with a wrapping plastic. So I put the wrapping plastic on top of it, and I will let it dry, and it will take a long time because it's a heavy paper, and with plastic wrap on top, it's almost the double time to dry. So while it's drying, I will talk you through all the supplies I'm using today. For the brushes, I'm using my usual Escoda Aquario number 18, and that's all. And for the colors, I'm using Ultramarine blue, Aussie red gold, Nickel azure yellow, Quinacridone burnt scarlet, and lavender. And of course, my paper is from this Spanish brand Meirat, and it's a handmade paper. The first thing I'm going to try after this first layer has dry is to soften up edges once the painting is dry, and try to get back the white of the paper. And as you can see, this do not work at all with this kind of paper, because all the pigments are sunken in the paper and not staying on the top, where you can, if with cotton paper, for example, you can get almost the white of the paper back by adding water and absorbing it, and here it's not working at all. As you can see, all the beautiful saturated color from my first layer are gone. It's also because all the pigments have sunk in the paper, and they are not as strong as in my first layer when it was wet, and that's quite normal with every watercolor paper and every watercolor paint. The color will dry a bit lighter, but here it's a bit strong, I think. It's like all the color are in the paper and not on top of it. And I think this can be explained by the sizing of the paper. There is a product that bonds all the fiber together in watercolor paper, and this product helps all the pigment to move on the paper and to soften and to do what watercolor do. And here there is no or a different kind of bond in the fiber of the paper, so the pigments are not behaving as I'm used to. And you can even see that when I paint on top of a dry paper, the paint is feathering a little bit. You can see it on the mark I've made on the left, like a stem of branches. It's all feathered in the paper as if the pigment was going where he wanted and not where I want. So I think it's not the perfect paper for watercolor for that particular reason. There is no sizing in the paper, so it's a bit hard for me to paint on top of it. But maybe it's also my style that is not good for this paper. And I think for maybe other stuff, it will be really a great paper. Maybe less detailed work with just one layer and that's it. It will work a little bit more or better. I think it's maybe also a question of habits. If you are accustomed to this kind of paper, it will work for you. But I'm really I really like too much all my usual paper, Canson Héritage or Arches. So it's just the paper is not for me at all. And you can see here when all the colors are wet, it's really popping and it's really nicely saturated in colors, but when it dries it's a bit lighter, and I do not like that. And here I think I know that I will not make a good painting, so I'm trying to just splash a lot of colors and water on top of this painting so that I can see what is happening and I can learn and just have a good idea of what this paper can do. And it's just not for me. The pigments are not moving. Even if I put a lot of water, usually on watercolor paper it will just wash off all the pigments, but here it's not working at all. The pigments are sinking right in the paper and do not move once they are put in some places. So I'm a bit disappointed by this paper because I like the texture so much, but it's not for me. And if it's not working for watercolor, I hope it will work for gouache, because I think it's a really nice texture paper, and I think it will be great with gouache. I have to try it, and I think I will try it with this particular sheet, which has already a watercolor on top of it, because it will make a great background for my gouache painting. And I will try to rework this painting, and hopefully I will be able to show you how it turned down. But For watercolor, it's a really a no. I will not be able to try acrylic because I don't want to have acrylic painting at home with the cat and everything. It's not a good idea, but I will try gouache and I will tell you what I think about it. And here you can see that even the paper is entirely soaked in water, it is still very matte and the painting is behaving really strangely. And this video is now ending. Thanks for watching and I hope you like it. Please check the blog post for more information about it and tell me what you think in the comments. See you soon.